So you're moving to Davenport, Iowa, but you're really not sure where you want to live. Yeah, Davenport's not a huge city, but it can still feel overwhelming when trying to decide on where you want to be. So today I'm going to take you into the map, show you exactly where things are and where things aren't, so that you can make a better decision on where you want to live. So we're going to get after it right now. Now I'm going to cover a lot of different things in this video of where things are in Davenport, but I can't cover it all. But that's why you give me a call. My number is popping up down below. As much as I love making these videos, I love helping people find the home of their dreams here in Davenport, as I am a licensed realtor here. So give me a call, send me a text. Heck, if you want to send me an email, I am the one that answers those. So let me know what you need. So let's go ahead and get started here. So what you are seeing on your screen right now is a map of Davenport. So to get your bearings of exactly where we're at, we'll zoom on out. This is the entire Quad Cities right here. This dotted line is the border of Davenport. You can see we're kind of boxed in by 280, I-80, down I-74, and really just along the river here. So that gives you a good idea of where things are as far as Davenport goes. It is the largest city of the Quad Cities, so it has the most amount of people in it, most amount of area, so it is the most complicated to look at. But where do we want to actually start? Well, let's go ahead and go on down to West Davenport and just kind of show you some of the amenities down there of things that you can use. Even if you don't live down here, there is a few things that are still really good as far as living in Davenport. The first being the compost facility. Now let's go ahead and get rid of this here so we can see a little bit better. Turn on the satellite view here. And as we switch over to satellite view, we can see that the compost facility is down here. Now, if you're living in Davenport and you have yard waste, this is where it's going. They take all that yard waste, they put it in a giant pile, cut it up, and they actually compost it down, which actually is really good, especially if you're into gardening, because you can go down there, grab the compost. Obviously there's a fee with it, but it's actually one of the best compost facilities in the nation, in my opinion. And it really does help your garden out. And it is all getting rid of all that waste so it doesn't go into the landfill. Instead, it's getting composted and reused. So this is a super great amenity when it comes to the West Davenport area. And all this over here is a lot of industrial businesses like Novelis. There are a aluminum plant down there. We have, let's see, Courtesy Ford, which is a Ford dealership. We got some Mid-American Biscuit Systems. So you have a lot of industrial type stuff down in this area. So if you're moving here, you may be working at one of these facilities. So keep it in mind, as this is where these places are. Now, a lot of different things happen right along the river. One in particular is one of the parks. So if you're new to Davenport, Davenport actually has 37 parks that are in Davenport. One of those is actually Credit Island. Now, it's a great place to go as long as it's not flooded. It seems about every other year that it's going to be underwater, and it's because, I mean, look at it. It's right on the river, right in the river, really. So, great little place to go to. If I jump on in here, I kind of show you a little bit of what's going on here. Take a look. You can just see, you know, it's a nice little park, little driving area. Basically just makes a loop around here. They have trees, they have, what do you call it, the building over here. I can't think of what's called right now, but they have that going on. So just a really lovely place to go to if you're looking for a nice park that's close to the river. And that is one of the 37 parks that is available down there, or in Davenport. And then up here is actually Sunderbrook. So I'll switch over, show you the boundaries of that. Sunderbrook, which I used to pronounce incorrectly. One of the viewers like you actually corrected me when I said Sunderbrook. I said like Sonderbrunch or something like that. Anyway, Sunderbrook is another great park that you can go to. And it's a lot more wilderness. It's kind of on the edge of town. You can see there's like a prairie here. Over this way is the main walking path. It goes up into these trees up on top of the hill. I'll throw up some B-roll to show you a little bit of what that actually looks like, but it's also another great park that's just a little bit outside of town, although it's still in Davenport boundaries. So it's just a really cool place to go to if you're into, walking the dog or just going out, having some fun time with the kids, because there is playgrounds there as well. Now, if we keep on going up the river here, we basically get to downtown. Now, I can't move on without just mentioning, what has happened recently in downtown Davenport. If you've been paying attention at all to the news, we did have a 6-story building collapse down there. As of the taping of this video, they have recovered 3 bodies from the rubble. So it's a super big tragedy. A lot of lawsuits are going to be coming out of it. But that is in downtown Davenport. And I'll show you just where it is exactly. It's actually this building right here that has had that collapse. It's a really, really bad situation. Sometimes the city doesn't handle things quite right. And I feel like there's just going to be a lot of stuff coming out of this. But that is in downtown. Before that, downtown is a really great place to go to. And it will be again once this is all settled out, and it will eventually get settled out. Right now, I wouldn't recommend going down there just because there's a lot of commotion going on down there. But, as far as amenities that are in downtown and will be coming back, is places like Mean Billy. They have a great restaurant down there. What I love about Mean Billy is that it's casual enough that you can go in there, not feel like you have to be dressed up, but it's, classy enough and elegant enough that you can have a super nice date night or a nice, dinner out with whoever. It's just a really good place to go to, and that is in downtown Davenport. I'll switch it on over here to this view. Another great place to go in downtown is the Current. On top of the Current is Up Sky Bar. It is a really, really cool place to go. Let me see if it will actually show me some pictures of it. Hold on, give me 1 second. So yeah, this is the building itself. Let's see if there's any pictures of the bar. This shows you the bar from afar. So it's got this big glass area here that you can stand on top of and actually look out onto the river. So that's a really cool place to go to if you just want to go get drinks, look at the river. Because the river is a big part of Davenport itself. Me and my girlfriend, we went up there not too long ago. Fiance now, actually, take that back. Not used to saying fiance. We went up there and we actually looked out onto the river, took some great pictures. It was just a really cool little atmosphere going on up there. And then downtown, the park, another park, of course, is LeClaire Park. So you got this huge green area here that hosts a lot of different events. So we have like Red, White, and Boom on the 4th of July. They have the Pops concert, which is held by the Quad City Symphony Orchestra. I believe last year they did all Elton John type music. So they have a lot of different events on this green area with the band shell right here. And then also right next door is the Quad City River Bandits. Now the Quad City River Bandits is a minor league baseball team. They have one of the best stadiums there is in minor league baseball. In fact, they've actually won awards just for how picturesque it was. Because, look at this. You got the bridge right there. They're usually playing during sunset, which is kind of what's going on here. So they've won many, many awards for just how beautiful the park is. It's fairly cheap to go to. I think it's like $15 to $20 for a normal ticket. If you want to spend a little bit more, they have suites. So it's just a really fun entertainment venue to go to during the summer. And I definitely recommend checking it out. So a lot of other things going on in downtown, but I don't want to bore you because there are other places and different amenities that can happen around Davenport, but we're going to actually move up the river and go to the village of East Davenport. Now the village of East Davenport is actually way back in the day an old logging town, and it's kind of kept those roots. If I jump on in here, you'll just see some of the buildings that are down here. Now this one right here is actually brand new. They just built onto this. This is 11th Street Precinct. They just built this beer garden over here. But if we move on down the road here, you'll see, for example, like this building obviously isn't from this era, this century. And that's because that's from way back when it was a logging town, and it's kind of kept that old time charm. So just a really nice area to go to as well. Very easy to walk to. The Mississippi River Valley biking path is right through here. You can walk up into here. And then we get to our first actual neighborhood, and that's McClellan Heights. Now I've done a video on McClellan Heights right here, and you can take a look at that. I go into a lot more detail about it, but it is one of the most historic neighborhoods in Davenport. The architecture is phenomenal down there, and it really kind of stretches along McClellan Heights up to Middle Road. You might even consider up here next to Locust, part of McClellan Heights. One big mansion that I want to mention, which actually technically isn't in McClellan Heights, but it gives you an idea of just like the overall architecture there, and that's the Renwick Mansion, which is just down the street, not too far. You can see right here, this is what it looks like. It's an event center now, but McClellan Heights itself is actually, you can actually own one of these buildings that are historically, architecturally really nice, and McClellan Heights is the place to do that. McClellan Heights is also really easy to walk if you can walk hills. You know, it's up and down pretty much everywhere you go. I love to walk through there, take a look at the architecture, but it's super close to the village, and that's why a lot of people like it, because they can walk down to the village, go to Lindsay Park, go to some of the events they have there. So it's just really cool, right next to the village, McClellan Heights. Check it out if you like that old architecture. Now if you go ahead and zoom on out here, we can take a look at some other amenities. Now we're getting close to the Bettendorf Davenport line, and again, generally it's going to be along I-74, but if you look at it originally, it was like a stair step down that line, so not all of this, you know, this side is Davenport, not all of this side is Bettendorf. There's a little bit of nuance there, but the one thing I do want to point out is over here is one of the quote-unquote major shopping areas. You have the Home Depot right here, and then you have a few other smaller places that are in here. There's going to be a new arcade bar sort of thing going on in here. It's going to be a really cool spot to go to. Technically that's Bettendorf addresses, but it's right near, you know, McClellan Heights. Down here in Riverside, you got Duck Creek Park, which is golf course / walking path right in here. And you'll see right here is Locust. Now Locust is one of the main thoroughfares that goes through Davenport. A lot of people complain about Locust as the infrastructure is a little bit bumpy as far as potholes go. So be careful when you're on Locust, but it is one of the main thoroughfares to get you east and west. If you take Locust down here, you'll see Vanderveer Park, another great area as far as old architecture goes. You know, we got McClellan Heights, which is probably the crown jewel of old architecture, but then we have Vanderveer, which is technically just the park, but Vanderveer area is where a lot of those old-time architecture homes are. And it makes sense when you think about it. Davenport started out down by the river, and it just kind of moved north as, you know, time went on. So the older houses are going to be closer to the river, and then they're going to keep on moving up in, you know, years as far as getting away from the river. But Vanderveer was one of the first historical neighborhoods that was settled when Davenport was just getting built. Now another great thoroughfare that you need to know about is actually Kimberly Road, and that's right here. And it is probably the second most used road as far as getting places to go grocery shopping just in general. And it starts at I-74 and basically goes out to North Fairmont. It connects with all the major east or north-south roads. So you have Jersey Ridge, you have Eastern Avenue, you have Brady, which is one way. You have Welcome Way, which turns into Harrison right here, this intersection. You got North Marquette, North Division, Hillendale, then Fairmont. It all connects those together so that when you get to Kimberly, you can go the east and west direction. What is on Kimberly? Well, North Park Mall is one of the major ones that we can see that is on Kimberly. And as you can see, it's a big mall. You know, the thing I can say about North Park is it's a mall. You know, some malls are not doing as well as they used to. It's just the nature of what's going on in the world. North Park is really no exception to that. They do still have quite a few stores in there as far as malls go, but it is a little bit dated, but it's still an option to go to. You know, you have JCPenney, you have Dillard's there, Barnes & Noble, and you got some stuff going on around it. So like the Olive Garden here, you have Smart Lexus, Hooters, if that's what you're into. But just down here is more shopping. And of course, if you're moving here, you're probably gonna have to go to the DMV. And that is actually located right here. Now, if you ever go to DMV, make sure you show up early. Yeah, my fiance just had to go there and she spent about 3 hours at the DMV to get her license. So go early if you can, because that's no different than pretty much anywhere if you're gonna get a new license. But that is located right off of Kimberly Road. And if you keep on going down here, you're gonna get some shopping. So you got Hy-Vee, you have Walmart. If you're not familiar with Hy-Vee, it is a local chain of grocery stores that does a fantastic job at their produce and all of that. And what they specialize is actually getting really close into neighborhoods. And this Hy-Vee is no exception. It's right next door to a lot of these neighborhoods. A lot more convenient than, say, driving down to Walmart, which may be a little bit more of a drive for you, but it's all right here along Kimberly Road. Now moving up a little bit further is actually the most busy road and the most options for you, and that is really 53rd Street. Now the main hub of 53rd and where Davenport is concerned is right here on 53rd and Elmore. You have Target, you have, let's see, Aldi down here, you have Walmart up here, you just have a ton of options. Costco is right there. Just a little bit further down is Lowe's and Sam's Club. So it's gonna be the biggest hub of commerce in Davenport is 53rd and Elmore. So if you wanna be close to that, you wanna check out some of these areas as far as living goes, because this is gonna be the closest place for you. Now, I had talked about how as you move further north, the houses are getting a little bit newer, and that is definitely the case here. You know, up here is going to be some of the most expensive houses that you'll find in Davenport, along with this area here. They're going to be the biggest houses, they're going to be most expensive, and the newest houses. So if you're looking to build something, up here is where you're probably going to be looking at, because that's where most of the new builds are going, and it just keeps expanding northward as time goes on. And the other benefits of being up north is that you're going to be close to the brand new Rhythm City Casino, and brand new is relative. It's been there probably 3 or 4 years now. You're going to also have access to Menards up here off of Brady Street, and then you're going to actually have up here, it's not really something that you're going to have access to, but if you're moving in here, say from Amazon, which has just announced they're going to be hiring 1,000 employees to work here, this is where the Amazon facility has been built and will be starting up here relatively soon. And Sterilite, which is another big corporation that has moved in there in the last probably 5 years or so. So a lot of development going on up here as far as Davenport goes, and it continues to develop as time goes on. Now, the thing that I want to mention when you're looking up here is where the lines are as far as Bettendorf and Davenport. So let me pull that up really quick. All right, so we got the red line here, and right here it kind of gets fuzzy of where Davenport and Bettendorf begin, and it gets even crazier when we're talking about school districts. So right here, here's I-74, and I said that I-74 basically splits Davenport and Bettendorf. It's not entirely completely true, but right here is a great example of that. This is Davenport, and this right here is Bettendorf. Now it gets even weirder when we talk about school districts, because my uncle actually lives in this area, and my cousins actually went to Bettendorf school, even though they have a Davenport address. So if school districts are important to you, you have to give me a call, because it's not exactly where the city lines are as far as the school districts. So make sure you give me a call if you have any questions along those lines. Now, as much as I love making these videos, I love helping families decide where they want to live. And like I said, there's a lot of nuances to moving to Davenport. So if you have any questions, give me a call, send me a text. I am the one that answers those. But if you want to know more about what it's like to live in Davenport, well, check out this video because I go over the pros and cons of living in Davenport, Iowa.